Welcome to the Nerd Party.
We want to dedicate this episode to the memory of Carrie Fisher and her mother, Debbie Reynolds, two extremely talented people who we lost at the end of 2016. This episode is dedicated to their memories. Hello and welcome to another episode of Missing Frames. I'm your host, Shawn Eastridge, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, a beautiful, wonderful person whom I love with all my heart and soul. That person happens to be married to me. I feel very bad for her because of this, but that's okay. So this is me and my wife, Sarah Eastridge. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Shawn.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you so much for being on this episode. I know you hate me so much right now.
He might have forced me.
I might have forced you to do this, but that's okay. We're going to make do. So today, this episode, because I wanted to do something that kind of honored the memory of Carrie Fisher. Everyone has seen Star Wars, so obviously that's off the plate. I wanted to do When Harry Met Sally, but again, pretty much everyone in our crew has seen When Harry Met Sally, so we couldn't do that. So I was like, what other movies can we do that have Carrie Fisher in them and would be great for an episode just dedicated to her memory? And I realized, Sarah, you haven't seen The Blues Brothers.
Never seen it.
That is amazing. So
I might have caught a couple minutes here and there on television, but not enough to even understand really what it's about.
Well, then you were in for a treat, because The Blues Brothers is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Carrie Fisher is in it. And one of her, I want to say, underappreciated roles. I don't know if many people talk about this role as much as they should, because it is wonderful. It's not a huge role. I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but it's a memorable role. But so my history with The Blues Brothers, I don't have a strong memory of when I first saw this movie. I feel like I happened to catch it on TV. Like it was something like it was on TV and I had no idea what was happening. Again, since you haven't seen it, I don't want to go too specific because I think the shock of everything this movie has, really that's what it is. It has everything. And I think I was so taken aback by it that I was like, I love this. This is amazing. I want this movie in my life. It was on TV, so I only caught part of it. And then eventually I bought it and watched the whole thing. I think probably like my senior year of high school or right when I was going into college. But I loved it. And I got like the soundtrack and I got the music. I got really, really into it. It was so good and so wonderful. And I love it. And I love Dan Aykroyd and I love John Belushi. They're both great. But you've never seen it. So what do you know? Do you have any kind of knowledge about these wonderful people, this wonderful movie?
So I really don't know much. I have an image in my head of two gentlemen wearing hats and sunglasses.
So far, so good. And so you've looked at the cover of the movie.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yep, I've seen the cover of the movie. And I think they're behind, or it's like a police station setting. I'm not quite sure. But from that, I have gleaned that it is perhaps a crime drama with music. I'm probably
a crime drama with music starring Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
Yes,
all right. This sounds like a movie I do want to see. I don't know if that applies to the Blues Brothers, but that's all right. You know, this is neither here nor there. But okay, so from your perspective, this is a movie about two guys with sunglasses and hats who are they related at all?
They're brothers, I would
now,
assume.
What made you say that?
Well, that title.
There you go. There we go. So we have two brothers who may or may not be in a crime drama. This is going to be so much fun. So one thing about this movie is it's a little long. It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is a huge deal at the time. So this came out, it was released, I think, summer 1980. Yeah, specifically June 20th, 1980. It was directed by John Landis, who's a very famous comedy director. He did An American Werewolf in London, which I know you really enjoy.
I do love that.
He did Animal House. So I don't think, I think I'm trying to remember where An American Werewolf in London is in the scope of that. I think he'd done Animal House at this point. So not only was he like a go-to comedy director, but John Belushi became like a huge star because of that movie. And he was already in SNL, but Animal House kind of kicked him up a level. So the fact that John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, they were buddies and they were on SNL and they created this persona, basically, the Blues Brothers. And actually, strangely enough, it was the name the Blues Brothers was an idea of Howard Shore's, who is a famous composer. Do you know what he did?
I do not.
He did the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
I
and
should have
amongst
known
other
that.
films like Hugo and other. I mean, he's one of the best composers of all time. But I didn't even know that until I was doing research for this episode. He came up with that title. But so it's Jake and Elwood Blues. Those are the characters' names, and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi play those characters. And they basically just invented this. And then when there was an option for a movie, everyone was going crazy. Like, everyone wanted to buy it. Universal, Paramount, everyone was fighting for it. I think it came down to the two of them, and Universal won out. But it was such a, like, they were sure it was like, this is going to be a surefire hit because we've got John Belushi, we've got John Landis, who's going to be involved with this. This is going to be massive. Dan Aykroyd wrote the movie, and he'd never written a screenplay before.
Oh, wow.
So he had no idea what he was doing. He wrote a 324-page screenplay, and it wasn't formatted like a screenplay. And for those of you who don't know, a screenplay, typically the way the industry states it, is a page equates a minute in screen time. So a 120-page script is going to be 120 minutes, 2 hours. That's about roughly what you want your length of movie to be. So a 300 or plus page script is not what they had in mind. And Dan Aykroyd, apparently, as a joke when he brought it to the producers, because it was so big and massive, he binded it with a cover of the Yellow Pages just to be like, hey, here you go, here's my script. But it included way too much information, backstory on the characters, stuff that nobody
It's the Hobbit movies.
It's the Hobbit, basically. Yeah, it's the Hobbit movies. So if Peter Jackson had handed in that script, that's the movie they would have made. It would have been a 5-hour movie, 5+ hour movie that was just people walking and doing nothing the entire film. But so they went into production. And the one of the famous things about this movie, and pretty much every movie in the 80s, is that everybody was on cocaine. Cocaine was like the thing to do. Like,
awesome.
If you were on a movie, it was required for you to be doing cocaine. So John Belushi, of course, was like crazy into it. And it caused a lot of trouble for the production because he was so high all the time and just causing so much mayhem that it caused delays. They went over budget. They went over schedule. The movie was like, the budget inflated. It just went insane. And it became one, at the time, I think it was the most expensive comedy ever made. Like, we're talking like $30 million, which is in today's dollars, almost $100 million. Like, that's the budget of like an actual like blockbuster, like a movie. So everyone thought this was going to fail and it was going to be a huge disaster. Everything was just ridiculous. And, you know, the movie has so much going on in it. And when you watch it, I think you'll fully understand why this movie went over budget, because there's a lot happening in it. But it's pretty great. So a couple things we'll talk about after the movie, because again, I want you to go into this completely blind and I don't want to spoil it for you.
Perfect.
But lots of fun stuff. Lots of great cameos. It actually kind of reminds me of the Muppet movie, the original Muppet movie, where it's like, oh, look at all these celebrities. But Blues Brothers is actually, their celebrities are a little bit more relevant, people you'd still recognize today. The Muppet movie is definitely very much of its time. Although it has Steve Martin and Richard. Is Richard Pryor in that movie? I think I'm a little crazy. Sarah, you can't see it, but Sarah gave me a look like, what are you talking about? Stop talking. So that's what we'll do. So the Blues Brothers, are you excited for this? Do you have any level of interest in watching this?
Yes, because I had no idea Carrie Fisher was even in this. And then when you told me that kind of hooked me in a little bit.
Great. But otherwise, if Carrie Fisher wasn't in this, would you really be that interested in watching it?
I probably would not.
Okay. so this could go well.
It could go either way.
It could go either way. And I don't really remember the last time I watched this in full, so this is going to be fun. It's been a few years at least, but it'll be interesting to watch. So let's go ahead and sit down and watch the Blues Brothers.
Now available to own on video cassette.
And we're back. We are all done. We've just watched the Blues Brothers. So, Sarah, what did you think?
I loved it.
You loved it?
I loved it. I actually loved
wow.
it. I didn't just like it. I loved it.
So even if Carrie Fisher hadn't been in it, you would have loved it regardless.
I think yes, but she did add a very nice flavor.
She did. So it probably makes sense to you now why this movie went completely over budget and completely over schedule.
They blew everything up.
They had
Insight.
They blew up everything. I think this movie has more car chases than maybe the first couple Fast and Furious movies.
Probably.
It might be an exaggeration, but I guarantee you it probably has more than the first Fast and Furious movie. So at the time, this movie made a world record. It had wrecked 103 cars during filming. That was a world record, which was beaten. I can't remember the movie that beat it, but I think The Matrix Reloaded currently holds the record. And The Matrix Reloaded isn't nearly as good as this movie.
No,
It's
I'd
not
say
right.
this is a little bit better.
It's a tiny bit better than The Matrix Reloaded. But so did you know this was a musical?
No.
Did you know? I mean, you described it as a crime drama.
Crime drama. I was kind of, they did commit crimes in this movie.
They did commit crimes.
Yeah.
Not so much drama.
It was more of a crime comedy.
It was more of a crime comedy.
Or just a comedy.
Yes, that is true. So crime comedy is a good way to describe this movie. But yeah, I remember the first time I watched it, and I loved it, as I was saying before, but I think I was just amazed that this movie included so much. Like I was like, this movie, I would tell people, like I was like, you've got to see the Blues Brothers. This movie has singing, it has dancing, it has comedy, it has action, it has car chases, it has explosions, it has Carrie Fisher, it has Ray Charles, it has John Candy, it has Steven Spielberg. This movie has so many people in it. Who was your favorite cameo of the entire movie? Like out of all the celebrity cameos, who was your favorite? I don't know
if I could pick a favorite. Steven Spielberg, that was very
unexpected.
Surprising and completely unexpected.
I don't know
especially his role.
It's also
great.
funny because I don't think he has done many. I don't think he's been like an actor in any movies.
I don't think I've seen him in
This is
anything.
the only thing I can recall seeing him in that he's just a character in the movie, just a random side character.
Yep, and Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman is in it. Yeah, he's in it.
That was a fun little thing.
Yeah, and pretty much like every like soul singer, like Ray Charles and James Brown is in it, and Aretha Franklin's in it. So I love the church scene at the beginning when first of all, I mean the nun scene where they go to visit the nun. I just remember like the first time I watched this all the way through and just knowing I was going to love this movie because the scene is so exaggerated as far as like, it's hysterical because they're swearing and she's slapping them. But at the very end when she knocks when John Belushi falls down the stairs and he's in his desk and he falls down the stairs and she's saying like, you will do this and so be it, and then she floats backwards inside. I just remember thinking like, what is this movie? And I love all of it. At what point were you kind of like, okay, I'm totally into this? It was that, and then it was that, and then I think the church scene was not too long after, where I was like, "Oh, it's a musical too." Okay, this is great.
So both of those scenes were amazing. I think the one that really got me is when the cops are chasing them through the mall.
Yeah,
and they are just knocking over, surprisingly not killing anyone,
right? And
just going through every single store they can hit and shattering every piece of glass they can get.
Yeah,
and that's when I was really into it.
That's the first chase scene in the movie, and that was, when I'm watching it for the first time, I'm like, okay, so it's a musical and it's an action movie.
Yep.
All right, and it's hysterical, and they're driving by all these stores that don't exist anymore, as you pointed out, except for Pier 1 Imports.
Yeah, Pier 1
Still
Imports.
around. That's stuck around. It was the only store they didn't destroy.
Stood the test of time.
It's the Blues Brothers. It's thanks to them that the store is still around because they didn't destroy it. But I love how they're just driving around like, oh, this mall has everything. Just the movie has such a fantastic sense of humor, which is no surprise really considering the talent involved. So there are lots of musical numbers in this movie. What did you think of the music? Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
So it's funny because the band is an actual band. It's the Blues Brothers band because they started as a band. That Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi kind of like they started up and they actually recorded an album, and it was kind of like, it's not a real band, but it was a real band, and they both loved the blues, and they were making this music together, and the movie followed that. But all the band members are actual like musicians, and they were all not even actors, but they're all surprisingly good.
Yeah,
and they're all very natural. But I think it's very cool that they had just all the band members with them. As far as my favorite numbers go. So I really love the church scene at the beginning because that's the first taste we get. Like, oh my God, this movie is gonna be ridiculous with James Brown as a preacher. But I really loved. I think maybe one of my favorite, if not my favorite, sequences in the movie is the Ray Charles when they do "Shake Your Tail Feather."
Yeah,
and
that's great.
Because I love any musical where they just get a big like rousing number where like everybody is dancing. Like Ferris Bueller kind of did the same thing, even though it's not a musical, but like where everyone is out singing "Twist and Shout." But I loved them bringing everybody out, and all the people are in the city dancing, and all the kids and everybody. Is there a scene in this movie, as far as the musical numbers, which one did you enjoy the most?
I think personally, I love the Aretha Franklin in the Soul Cafe.
Because you're a girl?
Because I'm a girl.
You're like,
she's girl.
She's going to smack her man down.
Yeah, she's just laying down. No, I love her. So she was great. And weirdly enough, I had seen that scene before, but I had no context that scene was in this movie. Right. So when I was watching it, I was like, wait, I've seen this before and this is fantastic. And it was a movie that I had not seen before. So it's cool to put those together. But so I loved that. That was a lot of fun. And
then is there a favorite, not even musical sequence, but like just as far as scenes go, is there a favorite moment so far, like off the top of your head?
The ending, the entire ending where
it's just
every
chase scene.
Giant chase scene, every form of police, military police, SWAT, whatever, are storming this building in the most absurd way possible. Right. I thought that was hilarious. I like that a lot. This movie,
it comes as no shock to me that this movie, cocaine was prevalently used, because this movie, there's anything watching it again that I was struck by, it's that this movie is extremely excessive. And when I was younger, I was like, this is amazing. Watching it now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely like, oh my God, this is like ridiculous. Like there are 50,000 dance scenes. There are tons of explosions. The movie doesn't really make any sense. Like you have Carrie Fisher, her first appearance. I remember you were just like, "Who? What is she doing?"
She's the mystery woman. She's credited as mystery woman.
She is the mystery woman, and she walks in and she drives up to their street and shoots at them with a bazooka, and then just drives away. And they kind of get up and brush themselves off.
Yeah,
and
no big deal.
Well, like no deal. And
a day in the life.
They try to open the doors, and the doors fall apart. But it is. I'm kind of shocked this movie got made at all. I mean, just watching the amount of explosions, this movie feels like 3 or 4 different movies sandwiched into a single movie. And it's supposed to be a comedy. It is hysterical. It's very funny, but I can't imagine how this movie was pitched or how they convinced somebody to give them a budget. It just seems like they rode on the success of John Belushi. Like they're like, oh, John Belushi's going to be in it. Let's do whatever. And then it's like, yeah, by the way, it's going to cost like $30 million
and a lot of cocaine.
But I think it wasn't even supposed to. Yeah, and a lot of that, half of that goes to cocaine.
Yeah.
But I think the movie was originally supposed to be 17 million, and then it jumped up to 30 million.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's insane. Even action movies in this day and age don't have as much action as this movie. It's kind of ridiculous. So I love it for its excess, but it's like the movie is like 2+ hours long, and sometimes you kind of feel it. Like I feel like there are points where it's like you probably could have cut maybe 20 minutes out of the movie.
I think so.
I wonder if because one of my complaints about Judd Apatow movies and Paul Feig movies, as much as I enjoy a good chunk of what Judd Apatow has done, not all of it, and I enjoy some of what Paul Feig has directed, I think both of their problems come from their excess and
runtimes.
Yeah, runtimes. I wonder if the Blues Brothers kind of started that. Like
it was probably like a 30-hour movie, and they've just been trimming down.
Well, the movie apparently, the original cut of the movie was 2.5 hours long with an intermission, and I think the studio head or the producer or somebody involved was like, "You need to cut this movie down."
It's not really an intermission type movie either.
Yeah, and there's an extended cut on the Blu-ray, which I've never seen. I don't really have that much interest in seeing it, but I wonder what they cut out, because it doesn't feel like a whole lot.
Feels like they have everything in there.
Movie. I know. So But it's interesting. It does feel like, I think the difference between this movie and like a Judd Apatow comedy, like if this movie was straight comedy and it was 2 hours and 10 minutes long, I think it would feel longer.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Because there's so much going on in this movie and it has so many different flavors, I think it kind of ends up working for me. Like things that I might not enjoy as much, like things I might kind of feel like, oh, this is pulling me in a bunch of different directions. Somehow it all works, and I don't know how, but
magic.
It does. It's just magic. It's the magic of Dan Aykroyd and John Landis. And funny story, so John Landis directed this, and he would go on to do the Thriller music video for Michael Jackson, which is, I know Michael Jackson was like, oh, he did An American Werewolf in London, so I want him to do this, but part of me feels like this is like a precursor, like, oh, see, I can direct big musical numbers and do this music video. Something else about this movie, so obviously tons of cocaine's being used, who knows what else, but like today, I mean, it's amazing. A lot of 80s movies are like this, where the casual indifference with which they like drop really inappropriate or like offensive like jokes just on the fly is astonishing, and it's kind of refreshing. In this day and age, it feels like people get so offended by every little thing that to watch a movie like this where it's just like just randomly, it's like, oh, here's the white American socialist Nazi party that's just in this movie,
No big
for
deal.
no reason.
You can laugh.
You can laugh at it. They're just there, and the Blues Brothers drive them off a bridge. First of all, they all jump in a bridge, and then the leader of the group drives off a ramp into the city, and it turns into a flying tour of Chicago before they fall, plummet into the pavement, and create a giant sinkhole that the rest of the Nazis fall into and die. This is that kind of movie, apparently, where things like that just happen because why not? There's that. What other things about this movie were you watching it and you were just kind of like, okay, sure, whatever?
Definitely Carrie Fisher. With all her weapons, her bazookas, her flamethrower.
Yes, she's in a
flamethrowers. I loved that. It added a flavor of psychosis to the movie. And especially since most of the time you don't know why this woman is trying to murder these people. Right.
She's just a random woman murdering, shooting bazookas and machine guns.
And she's just a scorned lover after all that.
I love that there's a propane tank next to the telephone booth that's just conveniently placed so she can flamethrow into oblivion, and then they explode and everything's fine.
And they survive every time.
They survive every time because they're the Blues Brothers. They're not going to die.
No.
I love you don't really get a chance to kind of see them perform until the very end of the movie, because you're kind of, and I wonder, I can't remember exactly my thought process watching it for the first time, but I'm sure watching it, like when they finally get to do their big performance and they sing Everybody's Needs Somebody to Love, I remember thinking like, oh, they're actually really good, and being delighted by that. Like, oh, it's great. I feel like it could have been funny if like, oh, they're terrible and they're no good, but it's better because they actually end up being really talented. What was your impression? Like, were you expecting them to be like genuinely good, or did you think it was all a put on?
I think that I expected them to be good. I was hoping, is what I should say. I was hoping they would be good, just because the music so far leading up to that performance had already been so great. So it was kind of setting the bar high.
Right.
So I was very pleasantly surprised when they pulled it off, and I was kind of humming along and tapping my foot and definitely getting into it. So I thought they did a great job.
It's very clearly a labor of love.
Oh, yeah.
For both of them. They're both and Dan Aykroyd, I mean, they're both really into it, but you can tell like they are just like, they love it.
They look like they're having
it's like
so much
they
fun.
made this movie just because they wanted to perform in front of an audience, like a big audience like that, to have a big scene like that. But and all the cameos in the movie, it's funny, you pointed out to me, I don't even know who Twiggy is. I feel like I maybe have heard of her, but you were like, oh, it's Twiggy. Who's Twiggy?
Twiggy is a British supermodel,
and she's just in this movie.
Yeah,
Elwood almost gets to hang out with her.
He left her at the motel. No one leaves Twiggy at a motel.
I know,
and gets away with it.
Elwood does. The Blues Brother does.
Which is why they're all in jail at the
end. That's why, because he did not take advantage of his opportunity with Twiggy, so they all went to jail. How did you feel about that ending? It's kind of a dark ending. They were like,
it is, but hey, they were happy.
They were happy. It's
they
true.
had literally a captive audience. So hey, it's not the worst way to go.
It's also like, what else could have happened?
No,
they're not gonna.
They couldn't have gotten away at that point.
No, at that point
they've
blown up cops. Cops have been chasing them all night.
They had to follow through.
I also like that you brought up like, why are they wearing sunglasses at night? And then there's that famous line where it's like, we got a full tank of gas, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Yes, I loved that. I just props to them for staying in uniform. They had a hat on and sunglasses on.
They had a fashion statement and they stuck to it.
They
did. Do you have a favorite line from the movie?
Yes, I loved when Jake said, "I hate Illinois Nazis." That definitely got me.
It's because I think we all hate.
Because we all hate them, especially
true.
when they're from Illinois.
Exactly. Illinois Nazis are particularly bad. All right. Well, that is great. So I guess does this movie, it exceeded your expectations? It lived up? What do you say?
Yes, it exceeded because I did not have much expectation because I clearly didn't really know what this movie was about.
In that case, so did it really meet your expectations? You were expecting a crime drama with some music. So
I don't know if it met my expectation then, but I think that's good.
It's good. It went in a completely different. Yeah. It wasn't a crime drama. It was a car chase movie with dance and music number.
It was mostly a comedy with a little crime on the side.
There you go.
And a lot of dancing and a lot of music. So
perfect.
It was great.
It's a perfect movie. But all right, so it exceeded your expectations.
Yes.
And let's say if we're going to give it final ratings on a scale of 1 to 5, how many crashed cop cars would you give this movie?
Oh, well, I would say I will give it a 4.5 crashed cop cars.
Out of 5?
Out of 5.
That's great. I think I would probably give it 4 out of 5 crashed cop cars because I really love this movie. And I think it's just a little too long. It's like it's almost too much of a good thing. Like there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of dance numbers, a lot of chase scenes, a lot of action. And by the end, it's just like, oh my God. But I don't know if that's just my reaction to it or just being shocked that they actually got away with everything they did and that they managed to fit an action movie into a comedy and make it work. And then, of course, just having, we're watching this movie in honor of Carrie Fisher. And I feel like this is a wonderful, if you're not going to watch Star Wars, I feel like this is the movie you should watch. I know
Absolutely.
I think When Harry Met Sally is a better movie, which is the one I think I would have picked if somebody hadn't seen it. But the Blues Brothers, she has a way more badass role in this.
Absolutely. And she's zany,
she's zany and she's crazy, which is a little,
that's Carrie though.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carrie Fisher, if they that was actual footage of Carrie Fisher. Like they just cut that in, they spliced it into the movie. But yeah, so I feel like we've honored her memory. I feel like we've had a good time. We've enjoyed ourselves. We both enjoyed the movie. I'm glad you got to see it.
I am too.
So thank you so much for doing this, Sarah. I really appreciate it. You're a wonderful human being. And whoever is married to you is a lucky, lucky man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's 2017, so Happy New Year to everybody. You've made a wise decision by deciding to listen to this on New Year's Day, though you're probably not listening to it on New Year's Day. You can find me, if you want to talk with me, on Twitter at YayShawnDoorman. Just to say hello. And we want to hear from you about what movies we should watch next. We're kind of flying blind here. We're going by the seat of our pants, which is exciting as it sounds, isn't really all that exciting. So we want to get some ideas from you. So let us know. Just reach out to at YayShawnDoorman. Reach out to the Nerd Party Twitter handle at Join Nerd Party. And be sure to check out all the great shows on the Nerd Party. They're all fantastic. I'm a huge fan. All these beautiful people are involved. So do that. Go on to iTunes. Give them a 5-star rating. Give us a 5-star rating. Write a review. It gives us some nice traction so we can keep doing this. And we love doing it. And we love you. So thank you very much for tuning in and listening. And Happy New Year to everybody.